A boy is surprised to see a horned woman appear before him, emanating power and grandeur. The horned woman lifts the boy by his chest with ease, while he reacts in fear at her overwhelming strength. In Berlin, a young man runs exhausted through the streets while reflecting on his choice of work. In the last 10 years, legendary creatures known as aberrations have begun to appear frequently, and countless records and videos confirm their existence. The young man tries to convince himself that the creatures are fake, but is soon surprised by a monster that emerges behind him, ready to attack. A colossal monster advances through the streets with a threatening expression, but is intercepted by a figure that appears from above to confront it. The young man appears with a determined look, and in an instant, the monster is destroyed, leaving behind only wreckage and a confused witness shocked by what he just saw. The young exorcist, named Tojuro, is recognized for his quick action during the sudden mission. After confirming that there are no other aberrations in the city, the group feels relieved with the end of the clash. Tojuro shows exhaustion and frustration after the mission, wishing to return to Japan. Despite that, his companions recognize his skill, emphasizing that he has the highest number of exorcisms performed at his age. Tojuro remembers the aberration he faced, noticing its similarity to a former pet. It is soon explained that these creatures, called aberrations, suddenly appeared more than a decade ago, defying the laws of biology. With the increase in records around the world, it was concluded that these aberrations resemble creatures from ancient legends. In short, legendary beings came to exist in the modern world. In the United States, world leaders gather in a crisis response conference, discussing the growing threat of legendary creatures that have begun appearing around the world. In the meeting, it is revealed that these creatures exist in several countries, as well as warriors capable of confronting them. Thus, specialists and fighters from different cultures were gathered to deal with the threat. These fighters came to be called exorcists. Although people questioned why modern weapons were not used against the aberrations, it was considered a duty inherited from their ancestors. Guided by their own rules, the young exorcist reflects on the rule of keeping everything secret from common people. Frustrated, he complains about being sent abroad just for carrying his family's spiritual tradition. The young man carries the weight of his mission in silence, without recognition for what he does. In the middle of his outburst, he reveals his desire to abandon this life of battles and simply live free and normal. Eijiro is teased by his colleagues about his personal life, receiving jokes and comments, while the team, amidst banter and relaxation, is called back to the focus of the mission. The group receives its new mission, to travel to a small German town that holds an annual festival. However, the region is marked by the recurring appearance of a powerful aberration during this period. It is revealed that the threat is a colossal creature described in the Old Testament and considered one of the strongest known legends. Called the King of Beasts, it raises doubts among the exorcists as to whether it will really be possible to defeat it. It is said that if they succeed in the mission, they may receive a wish as a reward. For Tojuro, this would mean the chance to finally live a normal and free life, something he always dreamed of. As he observes the peaceful life of the city, Tojuro reflects on whether defeating the aberrations could really grant him the freedom to live normally, nurturing the hope that a common life might be possible. Tojuro reflects that he does not care about duties or missions like other exorcists. He decides that when everything is over, he will seek to live alongside ordinary people, simply wishing to be with everyone. Tojuro begins to question the real reason for the aberrations' attacks during festivals. Wondering if these creatures also have their own hidden reasons and thoughts, Tojuro prepares for battle, focusing his spiritual energy while wielding his staff, determined to face the approaching threat. Tojuro unleashes his spiritual energy, shattering the surrounding glass, surprising and frightening the civilians who witness the scene. People panic and begin running through the streets, frightened by the released energy, while Tojuro remains firm in the center of the chaos. As the civilians run in despair, a massive, monstrous shadow appears in the distance. Tojuro realizes with tension that the powerful aberration has finally appeared. The colossal aberration reveals itself, known as the strongest beast on Earth. Unlike a spirit or a god, it is presented solely as a beast, imposing and terrifying. Tojuro advances with determination to face the gigantic creature, impressed by the size of the threat, but not retreating before the challenge. Before Tojuro appears the gigantic behemoth, the legendary beast known as the most powerful among terrestrial aberrations. The exorcists act in coordination. Tojuro advances while restriction mages raise powerful barriers to contain the behemoth, striking the beast with a devastating impact. The behemoth is trapped by a magical barrier, while the exorcists coordinate the attack. Tojuro prepares to act at the decisive moment, determined to seize the opening created by his allies. The behemoth easily breaks free of the restraints, proving its immense strength. AGO. Tojuro watches in shock, realizing that the usual techniques have no effect against the creature. Aguro notices that the behemoth is acting strangely, avoiding causing direct destruction, different from the expected behavior of a raging beast. This attitude leaves everyone on alert, and further increases the mystery surrounding the creature. Determined to win his freedom, Tojuro charges at the behemoth, activating a vast magic circle that seals the battlefield for the decisive fight. An unknown spell takes over the field, surprising even the other exorcists. Tojuro, filled with determination, wields his weapon and decides that he will kill the behemoth, no matter what, to claim his own freedom. Tojuro attacks with full force and lands a direct blow, breaking one of the behemoth's horns and managing to wound it for the first time. The horn torn from the behemoth crashes to the ground, destroying everything around it, while the beast lets out a roar. Now, marked and enraged by Tojuro's attack, Tojuro gathers all his energy and strikes in a devastating attack from above, descending with his weapon in a decisive blow against the behemoth. As Tojuro prepares to face the enemy, a mysterious figure appears, exalting the behemoth and demanding that it become a true legendary beast. The tension rises even more with the revelation of this hidden presence, manipulating the creature. A hooded figure reveals himself as the creator of the behemoth. It was made to be the strongest creature and to carry that purpose with honor. Tojuro watches in shock, realizing that the beast does not act by instinct, but by a direct command. The hooded man seals a direct pact with the behemoth, concluding the engagement and strengthening the creature even more. The bond between creator and beast is confirmed, increasing the danger for Tojuro and the exorcists. Tojuro charges at the behemoth, aiming directly at its open mouth in a bold attack, facing danger head-on without hesitation. Tojuro advances with determination but notices a cut on his hand, realizing that he was injured in the clash. Meanwhile, his ally calls out desperately, worried about his condition, amid the battle against the behemoth. A girl realizes too late, the attack coming from above. The behemoth's immense strike crashes down upon him, causing a devastating explosion on the ground. The impact opens a huge crater, while his ally watches the scene, in shock and despair. Tojuro faces the behemoth amidst the destruction, realizing that his last strike was not with full strength. He reflects on the restrained blow, unable to understand why he hesitated at the decisive moment against such an immense threat. Anjiro is surprised when a horned female figure holds him in her arms. She stares at him intensely and demands to know the reason for his hesitation, questioning why he did not attack with all his strength. Stunned, Tojuro is in shock at the unexpected revelation. Tojuro is shocked to realize that the immense beast before him, the behemoth, revealed itself as a girl of human appearance, with horns. Surprised, he shouts in confusion, unable to believe what he is seeing. While being carried in her arms, he struggles and demands that she let him go, asking who she really is. Tojuro, confused, realizes that the girl suddenly appeared before him. She holds him effortlessly, surprising him for not reacting to the impact. The shock grows as he notices that she is completely naked, which only intensifies the strangeness of the situation. The girl states that Tojuro's blow would have been fatal, questioning why he diverted the attack. Confused and not understanding the situation, he stares at the creature in human form, with no answers for the accusation. The girl, now in human form, declares herself to be a beast, and affirms she is fulfilling her duty as such. While firmly holding Tojuro's arm, the young woman reveals her true identity, declaring that she was born as a divine beast, the behemoth. While offering something unexpected to Tojuro, the girl declares herself to be the behemoth itself, the beast that rules over all others. Following the law of nature, she affirms that if hunted, she must accept her end with honor, leaving Tojuro shocked by the revelation. Tojuro remembers that it was said to be impossible to communicate with aberrations, but the girl, revealing herself as the behemoth, challenges this idea by symbolically handing her heart to him. Tojuro, in shock, realizes that he has just formed a contract with the behemoth, the most powerful of beasts, something far beyond what he sought when he only wished for a normal life. Tojuro returns to the lodging in shock, arguing with Katru about the absurdity of the situation. He insists that all of this is impossible and demands that the other observe the proof before them. The creature now, in female form, appears discouraged by the lack of space in the room. Tojuro, exasperated, tries to justify the situation to Katru, complaining about the low Japanese ceilings. The agents report that the aberration encountered in the operation, temporarily designated as Behemoth, was of superior class and difficult to exterminate. During the containment procedure, it was confirmed that the creature could transform into human form, revealing itself alongside Tojuro. In a meeting, authorities discussed the Behemoth case, shocked by the possibility of an aberration taking human form. Elimination is discarded because it is a rare creature, and they decide that containment will be necessary. Among the doubts about where it could be kept, the suggestion arises that Japan would be the indicated place, as reported. During the meeting, it is revealed that a Japanese boy was heavily involved in the transformation of the Behemoth. Surprised and pressured, the Japanese representatives hesitate but end up accepting the responsibility of dealing with the situation. Despite the evident tension, the boy reflects on the past events involving the Behemoth and begins to suspect that the strange mark on his hand may be linked to the seal performed at that time. He wants to discover the truth and understand who was responsible for carrying out such a ritual. The protagonist reflects on the strangeness of the situation. The gigantic creature they faced is now in the form of a woman, which leaves him confused and distrustful. He wonders if that would be some kind of flaw or mistake. While trying to grasp the seriousness of dealing with a legendary aberration transformed into a human, Tojuro realizes that the girl also bears the same strange mark as he does. While trying to process the situation, Okatru reveals that everything was decided by higher authorities and declares the application of Exorcist Code No. 1, surprising everyone in the room. Okatru explains that the orders must be obeyed without question, making it clear that missions must be executed with precision. Tojuro, resigned, realizes that he cannot disobey. Okatru assures him that he will stay close to Monitor while encouraging him to deal with the situation alone. Treating this as the beginning of a fairy tale, Anjiro follows reluctantly, reflecting on being sent alone. Meanwhile, the beast in human form observes the village, recognizing it as a place of human coexistence and drawing the attention of children around her with her intimidating presence. Inside the house, the horned girl causes havoc as she moves in the tight space, breaking the ceiling. She reveals that she has never been inside a residence before and declares herself to be the king of beasts, bearer of destruction, leaving Tojuro even more apprehensive. Tojuro scolds the girl for destroying the house, saying that even if she is the king of beasts, she must respect the place she is in. He insists that someone worked hard to build it and tries to manage the situation, asking her to stay quiet while he cleans up the mess. Tojuro notices that the girl, despite being the fearsome behemoth, is surprisingly obedient. While she remains quiet, he grows irritated, thinking about Kate, believing that he should have been freed after that mission, but now finds himself trapped in this new situation. Tojuro receives the news that, for now, he can rest at home, since his role is only surveillance. However, the situation is far from peaceful, as Behemoth insists on talking about the Flesh Pact, leaving him even more irritated and confused. Behemoth tries to offer her own body as food, proud of the quality of her flesh, but Tojuro despairs and vehemently refuses. To prove his point, he shows her the wide variety of human foods, ensuring that they are better than any bizarre sacrifice. And Tojuro prepares human food for Behemoth, who curiously tastes the dish. As she tries it, she is surprised by the flavor, showing for the first time interest and satisfaction with human cuisine. Behemoth happily eats the meal prepared by Tojuro, expressing satisfaction and asking for more. Surprised by her reaction, he feels embarrassed, but offers a second portion, revealing the beginning of a bond between the two. Behemoth devours all the food prepared, leaving nothing behind, even Tojiro's portion. He grows frustrated with the situation but promises to buy more, to satisfy the insatiable hunger of the beast in human form. Tojuro reflects on living with Behemoth. Despite her huge body breaking everything in her way, her insistence on talking about being devoured and consuming all the food in the house, he realizes that she listens to his words and eats his food with happiness, which makes him hesitate to judge her only as a threat. Tojuro, confused by Behemoth's behavior, wonders what she really likes, and even considers what it would be like to shop to meet her needs. Reflecting on the strangeness of living with such a different creature, Tojuro meets Katla at the market and is surprised to realize that he really stayed around. Katla explains that Behemoth ate all the food in the house, leaving her depressed, which is why he was also there buying supplies. Tojuro begins to think differently about Behemoth, realizing that she may not be so bad. He considers the possibility that other aberrations may also be more rational than they appear, suggesting that instead of exterminating them, perhaps another way of coexistence could be found through dialogue. Katlo warns Tojiro that his way of thinking is dangerous. Despite Behemoth seeming different, she is still an aberration capable of killing them easily and could suddenly become violent. He warns that trusting too much could lead to regret when it is too late. Katla advises that being friendly with Behemoth is not a problem, but warns that one must never let their guard down, because if she regains her original size, she could become an uncontrollable threat. Even so, Totoro insists on believing that she is not evil, even in the face of risks. Totoro is surprised when the contract seal on his hand reacts. A warning appears, stating that the separation between him and Behemoth exceeded the allowed limit of 200 meters for 10 minutes. Resulting in the breaking of the engagement, the contract protocol is reactivated, leaving him in shock from the unexpected situation. Totoro is startled to realize that his mark spoke on its own, triggering an alert. He and Katla understand that this is related to Behemoth, and suddenly, the ground begins to shake, as if an earthquake were about to happen. The ground starts shaking, and people look around in fear, not understanding what is happening. To everyone's shock, Behemoth reappears in her colossal form, reverting to her original state. Totoro realizes the seriousness of the situation, understanding that it is now out of control. Behemoth awakens in her colossal form, destroying part of the neighborhood as chaos spreads. Totoro watches in shock, not understanding what is happening with Katlo. At the same time, the agents realize the seriousness of the situation and communicate to report the imminent destruction threatening the entire district. Behemoth grows uncontrollably among the houses, spreading panic among the residents. Totoro and his companion realize that if the situation continues, the destruction will become even worse and impossible to contain. Totoro desperately asks the ring for help to reverse Behemoth, but is informed that this is impossible at the moment. The only option is to calm her down. While the creature thrashes uncontrollably, Katla prepares his weapon, stating that she has gone mad, leaving Totoro shocked to see him ready to act violently. Katla explains that if Behemoth continues uncontrollably and puts the city or people at risk, it will be necessary to exterminate her to prevent greater disasters. Totoro, shocked, does not accept the idea of eliminating the creature, showing his concern and confusion in the face of the seriousness of the situation. Behemoth appears in her colossal form in the middle of the city, leaving everyone in shock. The sudden appearance of the creature causes alarm, while the characters realize the seriousness of the situation as they witness her true, overwhelming power and size. Behemoth begins advancing uncontrollably, causing panic among the residents and destroying houses around. Katlo prepares to act and asks Totoro to accompany him, while he desperately tries to think of a way to contain the creature before the damage spreads even more through the city. Totoro, in despair, shouts with all his strength, ordering Behemoth to stop and sit down. Surprisingly, the immense creature obeys, leaving everyone around in shock at the unexpected control he exerted over the monster. Behemoth obeys Totoro's command and remains still, surprising everyone. The agent comments incredulous that he never imagined it would work, admitting that the creature really listens well to the boy. Even in shock, they acknowledge that at least they managed to stop her movement, preventing further destruction for the moment. Katlo and Totoro thought they had controlled the situation, but something unexpected happens. The agent notices first and warns Totoro to look above. Surprised, they lift their gaze and perceive a new threat emerging in the sky, leaving them in shock and ready to react. Totoro and the agent realize that a great number of aberrations are appearing in the sky. The situation, already critical with Behemoth, becomes even more dangerous and chaotic. The aberrations begin to gather around Behemoth. Drawn by her presence, the agent suspects that she may be calling the creatures, while realizing that reality is much more chaotic than the stories or legends describe. Totoro watches the aberrations, spreading destruction, and concludes that they are far too dangerous. Even so, when looking at Katlo, he feels doubt about whether she truly represents the same threat as the other monsters. Behemoth violently attacks another creature, crushing it with brutality. Meanwhile, a narration emphasizes that this was exactly the vision the boy had expressed before. The boy, amidst the chaos, reinforces mentally that human dwellings must not be destroyed. Behemoth, taken by her fury, faces the city as the tension grows over what she will do next. Behemoth begins to return to her human form, while the seal confirms the reactivation of the engagement. The enemies that had appeared are driven away, and the boy believes that, with this, the situation has returned to being under control. Behemoth returns to human form after the battle, but appears without clothes, causing embarrassment for the boy and discomfort for those present, who demand that she get dressed immediately. The contract between the boy and Behemoth is finally confirmed as complete. He now carries the responsibility of dealing with such a powerful creature, while the full moon silently observes the unfolding of this destiny. As they assess the damage, they report destroyed houses but no deaths. One of the men sees the situation as an opportunity, highlighting that the aberrations represent an unknown power that no country possesses. Even with doubts about keeping control only in Japan, the international order is clear. It must remain there. The authorities discuss the boy's potential in controlling Behemoth. They consider that if he can maintain this power, it would be a great advantage for everyone. One of the men suggests, in an unusual way, that perhaps the key would be to make Behemoth fall in love. Raising the idea as a possible form of control, the superiors discuss the importance of controlling Behemoth, even suggesting romantic feelings as a way of taming her. The idea is that if she could be contained in this way, everything would become simpler. Meanwhile, they decide to request reinforcements and maintain observation to prevent similar incidents from repeating. The boy begins to believe that it may be possible to understand and communicate with the aberrations, especially with Behemoth. He sees in this a chance to change everything. If it worked, perhaps killing would no longer be necessary, and everyone could return to a normal life. The director decides the next step. To use feelings as a strategy, the new mission is to make Behemoth fall in love with the boy, believing that this could be the key to controlling her. While he still feels that his normal life is far away, after the incidents, the authorities inform that the damaged buildings have been restored and all procedures concluded. The boy and Behemoth are ordered to continue living normally, being treated as special cases. The boy reflects on the government's decision to let them remain in the city, not fully understanding the reason. Despite the concerns, he thinks that if he can get closer and communicate better with Behemoth, perhaps things could change between them. The boy takes Behemoth to Chinatown, where they come across various different foods. The creature is surprised by the flavors and textures, trying everything with enthusiasm. Behemoth becomes fascinated with the food, almost hypnotized, while the boy realizes he can use this as a way to get closer to her. He thinks that offering more food could be the path to strengthening their bond. After the recent events, the boy begins to believe that Behemoth is not as evil as she seemed. He thinks that maybe he can understand what the aberrations feel, and even sees himself as her guardian, though still uncertain about this responsibility. Tojiro receives an important call. Being informed that Behemoth has been officially classified as a very high-priority special case by the Exors organization, highlighting the seriousness of the situation. Tojiro receives full support from the organization, being instructed to treat Behemoth with hospitality to gain her trust. He realizes that if he builds a bond with her, he may be able to make her listen and even protect the city instead of destroying it, believing that showing her the human world could change her behavior. The director reinforces that the key to controlling Behemoth lies in increasing her level of affection. He instructs Tojiro to show her the good side of human villages and to become someone special to her, treating the encounter as if it were a romantic date. With the mission of making her fall in love, Tojiro is surprised and nervous with the responsibility, and Tojiro takes Behemoth into the city, reflecting on the mission he was given. To him, the idea of being on a date seems strange and embarrassing, but it is the necessary step to get closer to her. Meanwhile, Behemoth walks imposingly at his side, drawing the attention of the people around them. Tojiro walks alongside Behemoth through the bustling streets, but finds himself lost in his own thoughts. To him, this mission seems even more complicated than exterminating aberrations, since he never had simple experiences like going out with friends, let alone a date. Behemoth appears wearing clothes chosen especially for the date, drawing everyone's attention with her beauty and striking presence. Tojiro, surprised, cannot help but notice how well she adapts to human form and how attractive she looks before him. Tojiro, determined to fulfill his mission, studies tourist guides to properly lead Behemoth. With renewed confidence, he decides to take her to see the city's landmarks, viewing the outing as a way to get closer to Joe. During the tour, Tojiro tries to guide Behemoth through the tourist spots, but she is only drawn to the smells of food around them, completely ignoring his attempts to be her guide. Amidst the crowded crowd, Tojiro nearly gets lost, but Behemoth firmly grabs him, commenting that he walks too slowly and could disappear among the people, demonstrating her strength and imposing presence as she looks after him. As they walk together through the city, Behemoth showed her submission to the bond with the boy, stating that from the beginning, her body already belonged to him. Her words draw the attention of those around, leaving the boy embarrassed by the strange stares. The two end up holding hands in the middle of the crowd, attracting curious glances from passers-by, who mistake them for a couple, siblings, or even mother and son. The boy, embarrassed, realizes that holding her hand seemed the simplest way to guide her, but it still leaves him uncomfortable and blushing. While trying to justify to himself the naturalness of walking hand in hand, the boy insists that it is only to avoid being separated in the crowd. However, when intertwining his fingers with her claws, the strange sensation makes him uneasy. Reinforcing his difficulty in handling the situation, the boy tries to cope with the embarrassment of accompanying Behemoth, but she quickly gets distracted by the local food, filling her arms with treats while he reflects on what it truly means to escort her. Behemoth attentively observes the city and its customs, intrigued by the aromas and the way humans add so many flavors to food. Finding everything fascinating, Behemoth reflects on how she was always feared in her true form, unable to approach human places without causing destruction. Revealing that she could only observe everything from afar, Behemoth states that her presence does not intend to harm anyone, surprising the others. The boy considers her a good person, but she reacts confused and uncomfortable with the idea of being called that. The boy notices that Behemoth's movements were strange, as if she was avoiding causing destruction. Even so, she insists that she remains an aberration that attacks and destroys, but her reaction shows a certain internal conflict in response to his words. Behemoth questions if she can really be considered good, but recalls that her wish was granted by him. Acknowledging this, she calls him good as well, creating a sincere moment of connection between the two. Behemoth expresses a desire to return to the place, strengthening her bond with Totoro. Observers notice the relationship between them and begin to consider that using him to gain her trust may be an effective strategy to control her. Totoro feels awkward in front of Behemoth, making clear how shaken he is by the feelings that arise. While his companions observe his clumsy and confused reaction, the observers notice that the dynamic between Totoro and Behemoth has reversed, with him becoming increasingly vulnerable before her. Confused and embarrassed, he tries to hide his feelings. While they think about how to report this unexpected situation to headquarters, as Totoro and Behemoth walk together, several dark presences begin whispering, recognizing Behemoth and decreeing that she cannot continue living. Hostility grows, signaling an imminent threat against them. A report reveals the hypothesis that aberrations have the ability to shape their forms based on folklore, as many of them show similarities with creatures described in tales passed down across various regions. Catlo shows his fondness for books and explains that stories, tales, and legends may contain ways of dealing with legendary creatures. He suggests that by studying these accounts, it might be easier to face the aberrations. Catlo comments that Tojiro and Behemoth are beginning to get along, but he phrases it in a way that frames her as a woman. Meanwhile, Tojiro is surprised to see her taking a bath. Catla insists that gathering information is essential to understand Behemoth, even suggesting that the books may contain clues about her preferences. Tojiro, although skeptical, realizes that aberrations may indeed change form according to certain powers. Aberrations remain a mystery, raising the question about their true nature. Meanwhile, Behemoth is caught off guard and unexpectedly attacked during her bath. Aberrations in the form of small monsters invade the bathroom, determined to kill Behemoth. Meanwhile, Tojiro and Catla, unaware of the attack, notice noises coming from the place. Behemoth leaps with determination, protecting Tojiro by covering him with her body while eliminating the small enemies attacking in the bathroom. Tojiro, Behemoth, and Catla encounter goblins, small creatures usually known for playing tricks and rarely seen as a serious threat. Although they appear differently from old records, they are weak and normally not considered targets for extermination. The goblins reveal their intent, targeting Behemoth. Catla suspects they are acting against an aberration, and Behemoth prepares to fight, declaring that she will not hold back her strength if Tojiro gets involved in the clash. Behemoth unleashes her threatening aura, declaring that she will destroy the enemies for daring to invade the domain of the King of Beasts. Her intimidating stance reveals the full power of an aberration, but Tojiro reflects that, despite this, her presence does not intend to harm anyone. Tojiro stops Behemoth from attacking, placing himself in front of her. His gesture surprises the aberration, who pauses her movement, making clear the trust he places in himself to deal with the situation. Tojiro decides to try a different approach and asks Catlo for the Book of Legends. He believes that the information about goblins may be the key to dealing with the situation without violence. Tojiro finds in the book the page about goblins. Recalling that legends and folk tales bring methods for dealing with legendary creatures, he shows it to Behemoth, believing he has found the key to face the situation without direct violence. Tojiro and Behemoth put the book's idea into practice, scattering food around the place. The goblins, instead of attacking, are drawn and distracted, confirming that the method from the legends really works. The goblins, rather than attacking, begin to pick up the scattered trash, repeating the word trash while cleaning the environment. Katla watches surprised, not understanding the reason, while Tojiro confirms with satisfaction that the method worked exactly as recorded. Tojiro explains that although goblins are now seen as monsters, they were originally household spirits that helped with chores, even if mischievous. He recalls that some books describe them as household helpers, similar to the brownie type. Surprised to see the result, Katla acknowledges that the strategy worked. While Tojiro reinforces that the book truly contained useful countermeasures, the goblins begin to clean the place enthusiastically, surprising Tojiro with their efficiency. In little time, everything is in order, and he rewards them with food as thanks, reinforcing the connection created through the legends. The goblins become euphoric with the reward and celebrate together. Meanwhile, Tojiro watches the scene tired, and Behemoth stays by his side, glaring at the little ones suspiciously. Tojiro celebrates for having managed to deal with the situation without anyone getting hurt. The goblins happily receive their rewards, while he ensures that now they can remain there without worries. Behemoth watches Tojiro attentively and realizes that he is making an effort to fulfill her wish. This thought deeply touches her, while the boy continues determined, unaware of how much his actions impact her. Behemoth, grateful for the boy's effort, approaches him affectionately, wrapping him with her tail. Surprised and embarrassed, Tojiro reacts clumsily, not knowing how to handle the sudden situation. Behemoth appears casually but still without proper clothes, irritating Tojiro. Meanwhile, they realize that aberrations have once again targeted Behemoth, insisting on wanting to eliminate her. Tojiro reflects, intrigued, about why even other aberrations desire so much to kill her. In a meeting room, authorities watch Tojiro and Behemoth on a monitor. Some comment that they seem to get along, but a woman warns that this view is naive, as Behemoth is dangerous. Despite this, they highlight that Tojiro shows determination in trying to tame the aberrations. Aberrations are described as beings that possess dangerous powers, non-existent in humans, capable of crushing everything in a matter of moments. The scene shows their brutality and overwhelming strength, emphasizing the threat they represent. A monstrous creature attacks violently, displaying its destructive power. A woman steps in firmly, stating that such violence must be contained by force, preparing to subdue the enemy with determination. A new strategy is discussed among the superiors. Instead of relying only on Tokyo, they decide to resort to the help of professional aberration assassins, specialists in dealing with these beings directly and relentlessly. In a village, the residents panic upon seeing a monstrous creature appear again. The being begins advancing, threatening to destroy houses and everything around, causing everyone to run desperately to save their lives. The creature watches the villagers fleeing and, in despair, thinks that it does not wish to destroy anything. Feeling lonely and misunderstood, it pleads not to be abandoned, revealing its true pain, the fear of being left behind once again. Behemoth rests exhausted, lying on top of Tojiro as the rain falls outside. The heavy atmosphere mixes with the serenity of the moment, marked by the sound of the storm. Tojiro tries to leave, irritated at having to take his turn in cleaning duties, but Behemoth insists on accompanying him. Since she cannot be separated from him without risking returning to her original form, even reluctantly, he realizes that he will have to deal both with the duty and her presence. While it rains, Katla returns satisfied from his book shopping, reflecting on Japan's cultural richness and abundance of stories. As he climbs a staircase, he is surprised to see Behemoth, which interrupts his cheerful thoughts. Behemoth appears casually, surrounded by the little goblins, drawing Katla's attention, who is surprised by the unusual scene. Meanwhile, Tojiro, wet from the rain and carrying a shovel, complains about being left behind. Noticed by the neighbors who comment on the community cleaning, Behemoth, clearly attached to Tojiro, waits anxiously for his return, drawing Katla's attention. He reflects that the relationship is going well, perhaps too well, but still considers the situation positive. Meanwhile, Behemoth senses something strange, distracting herself for a moment. Katla shows his hobby, a storybook, and suggests that Behemoth read too. She hesitates, saying she has bad feelings, but Katla insists, reminding her that as a divine beast, her story would become true mythology. He encourages her to tell her own story, reinforcing its importance. Katla shows interest in hearing Behemoth's stories, believing they would be worthy of becoming legends. However, she insists that she has nothing special to tell, only memories of when she visited nearby villages and, unintentionally, ended up destroying things. But Behemoth reveals that, driven by curiosity about human culture, she visited villages and cities. However, whenever she appeared, she ended up destroying houses and turning everything into ruins without realizing it. Just walking already caused destruction around her, and thus, over time, she came to be called the King of Beasts. This shows her sad and lonely perspective of someone whose mere existence brought inevitable chaos. Behemoth reflects on her condition. Since she gained fame as a destructive beast, no one else approached her. Although she says she is used to being alone, it is clear that there is sadness behind those words. Even as a powerful being apart from the human world, her loneliness shows, contradicting her attempt to seem indifferent. Catlo watches Totoro naturally interact with the villagers, realizing how his presence brought unexpected changes even to Behemoth. Once seen only as a feared and isolated beast, now even what was considered normal for her was altered thanks to the boy, who made her experience a new way of living together. Catlo observes Behemoth and notices her uneasiness, while Totoro is absent. Even if she tries to hide it, it is clear that she feels lonely without his presence, revealing how attached she has already become to the boy. Behemoth reflects on the word loneliness, but Catlo reminds her that, unlike before, now Tojiro is always by her side. He emphasizes how much the boy cares for her and protects her, something rare, even among humans. Catlo explains that Behemoth is no longer a solitary beast, since Tojiro has become part of her daily life. He is always at her side, concerned with her happiness, scolding her when necessary, and sharing everyday life. This makes her reflect on something new for herself, the idea of daily life and happiness. Tojiro calls Behemoth with a sincere and energetic smile, extending his hand to her. The surprised reaction in Behemoth's eyes shows how much this gesture impacts her, revealing the strength of the growing bond between them. Tojiro, excited, invites Behemoth to go out with him, commenting that the rain has stopped and the market is having a sale. His words make Behemoth remember all the recent moments they shared together, filling her heart with emotion. The memory and the invitation affect her so much that, in her beastly form, she reacts intensely, showing how important his company has become to her. Behemoth, moved and with a rare, sincere smile, accepts to accompany Tojiro, showing how much his presence has transformed her and brought her a new joy for life. Tojiro happily goes out with Behemoth, while Katori notices something strange. The marks on the boy's fingers change according to his emotions, revealing an even greater mystery in his connection with the creature. While observers describe the scene as both magnificent and repulsive, Tojiro and Behemoth walk together under a mysterious field of energy, appearing in harmony despite the strangeness of the moment. Behemoth reacts quickly and protects the boy from an unexpected attack, demonstrating surprising agility for her size, leaving everyone shocked with her speed and protective instinct. During the confrontation, everyone notices that Behemoth was wounded. Then, a mysterious figure appears, revealing herself as someone from Tojiro's past, leaving him surprised and confused by the unexpected reunion. Tojiro's former senpai appears, recalling the harsh teachings she gave him in the past, to eliminate aberrations without hesitation. Her presence unsettles him, bringing back memories and doubts about why she is there now. Tojiro's senpai confronts him with authority, saying that she will have to teach him again. He grows tense before her intimidating stance, while the others realize that her appearance should not have happened there, questioning her unexpected presence. Two elite members appear before them, Sanko and Hebi, figures of overwhelming presence. Among them is the leader of the highest extermination division, imposing immediate respect and further increasing the tension of the situation. Tojiro's senpai approaches him after the battle, and noticing that he is hurt, tends to his wounds in a disconcerting and provocative way. The boy is clearly shaken by the situation, showing that he is still not mentally prepared to deal with her. The senpai stares at Tojiro in an intimidating and provocative way, making it clear that she intends to re-educate him. Her gaze and behavior insinuate power and dominance, further increasing the psychological pressure on the boy. Behemoth protects Tojiro from a sudden attack as an imposing woman appears, revealed to be Sun Hongxue, the highest-ranking exorcist. Her presence imposes respect and fear. Being known for hating high-level anomalies, Tojiro is surprised by the arrival of his senpai, Hongxue. While he tries to understand the situation, she reveals that she was already aware of the order that Behemoth had been assigned to him, but makes it clear that this means nothing to her, showing her firm and indifferent stance toward higher orders. Hongxue accuses Tojiro of accepting the order to protect Behemoth, considering that to be the true mistake. Determined, she prepares to exterminate the monster herself, ignoring the circumstances and Tojiro's concern as he tries to stop her amidst the growing chaos. Tojiro tries to convince Hongshae to hear his perspective, explaining that Behemoth in human form is an extremely rare case, and even citing his recent experience of befriending goblins without using violence. However, his attempt at reasoning is met with coldness, showing the difference in mentality between them. Tojiro defends Behemoth before Hongshae, stating that there is no need to subjugate her, highlighting that despite being clumsy, she is a good person. For him, resolving the situation without fighting would be the best outcome. But Hongshae remains prepared for combat, ignoring his words. Hongshae stares at Behemoth coldly, declaring that beasts do not deserve compassion and that anomalies must be exterminated without hesitation. For her, even if they possess awareness, their fate is always the same: to be eliminated immediately. Hongshae charges furiously at Behemoth and Tojiro, ordering him to get out of her way. Behemoth protects the boy, keeping him away from the exorcist's sharp blade, while assessing that her attacks, although powerful, are predictable and possible to read. Behemoth positions herself against Hongshae, declaring that she cannot allow someone who tried to devour the boy to go unpunished. The exorcist retorts, claiming that only the strongest have survived since the dawn of time. While Tojiro despairs at the situation, Behemoth, with a confident gaze, declares that she herself will be the only one devoured, showing her determination to protect him. Hongshae charges with fury, declaring that aberrations should not even use human words. Her attack strikes the ground with force, while Behemoth resists, demonstrating the crushing pressure of the fight. But Behemoth is thrown back by the impact, while Hongshae coldly states that the creature would do anything to survive. For her, Behemoth's human form is nothing but a farce, just an imitation meant to deceive. Hongshae advances decisively to end everything quickly, believing that Behemoth is a threat that cannot be left alive. Meanwhile, Behemoth faces the situation firmly, and Tojiro, in despair, shouts her name upon realizing the imminent danger. At the decisive moment, Tojiro extends his hand and protects Behemoth, surprising Hongshae. Then, he charges forward with her, ready to face the threat, attacking them, demonstrating his determination to fight alongside his companion. Behemoth, in protective fury, positions herself before Tojiro to prevent any attack against him. Determined, she declares that the boy belongs to her, and at the same time, affirms her bond with him, showing that both are now united by the same destiny. But Behemoth unleashes her true power, entering mass annihilation mode. Alongside Tojiro, both show that they are ready to fight seriously. The scene impresses even the exorcists present, who are surprised by the magnitude of this awakening. Hongshae strikes a devastating blow against Behemoth, throwing her brutally away. Tojiro watches in shock, desperately calling out to her, while the senpai maintains her firm stance, determined to exterminate the beast without hesitation. Hongshae is caught off guard when something interrupts her attack, resulting in an intense explosion. Tojiro and Behemoth watch in fear, while the tension increases with the force released in the clash. Two agents from the Japanese branch of Exors arrive at the last moment, interrupting the fight. They introduce themselves casually, while Tojiro shows relief upon seeing that Behemoth is safe. Captain Hongshae is reprimanded by the Japanese branch, which reinforces that she does not have authorization to use excessive violence in the city. The case of Behemoth's transformation is mentioned as the result of an unknown attribute increase, leading them to conclude that meddling with her recklessly would be dangerous. The Japanese branch takes responsibility for the fight, while Hongshae is taken away enraged, promising not to forgive Tojiro. Behemoth reflects on how they both tried to protect each other during the confrontation, but admits she does not fully understand what happened. Tojiro, curious, directly asks Behemoth about that strange occurrence. Behemoth realizes that after the strange event, her body became lighter and easier to move. She suspects this was caused by the wound. Tojiro, excited, says that this is amazing, and explains that if she can move better, she might be able to avoid destroying everything around her. Behemoth reflects on what she heard, and admits that it really would be good. With a gentler gaze, she agrees to keep it in mind. Meanwhile, Tojiro encourages her to strive not to hurt anyone, excited by the idea, and she accepts his words, albeit discreetly. The atmosphere calms after the fight, and the conversation turns to the orders to subjugate Behemoth. It becomes clear that the mission came from higher orders, but some, now closer to Tojiro and Behemoth, no longer wish to follow that path. Amidst jokes and reunions, they reinforce the idea that they are on her side, making it clear that they prefer to join Team Behemoth. The captain, taken by jealousy and frustration, breaks down emotionally. Between sobs and despair, she sees Tojuro at Behemoth's side as a personal betrayal. Believing that he abandoned her to be with the great anomaly, her feelings, confused between pride and pain, reveal that for her the situation is not just a mission, but something that directly stirs her attachment to him. The captain, overwhelmed by emotion, recalls how she cared for Tojuro since he was little, and how much she dedicated herself to him, but now finds herself confused and hurt by the current situation. The others notice the exaggerated and even distorted way she shows affection for him, calling it anomalous. Meanwhile, the man with glasses suggests retreating and discussing further, since facing everyone there would not be simple, concluding that her removal from the mission would be the best choice. An emergency call from the Japanese branch is received, summoning the exorcists for a new, urgent mission. Tension rises, as the message suggests that a new problem has just arisen, leaving everyone with a sense of foreboding about what is to come. In the coastal waters of the Ogasawara archipelago, a boat faces strong turbulence at sea. The crew, confused and frightened, questions the reason for the instability. They wonder if they hit a reef, but soon realize that would be impossible, as they are in the middle of the ocean. The boat begins to malfunction, not responding to commands, leaving the crew in panic. Suddenly, a huge wave and something colossal emerge from the sea, revealing a terrifying presence. Shock takes over when they realize that something abnormal and destructive is rising from the depths. Reports of ships sinking near the remote islands of Tokyo draw the attention of the exorcists. Survivors describe the sudden appearance of a mysterious island in the open sea, something impossible to occur naturally. The authorities conclude that these are not coincidences, but the work of an unknown anomaly. The exorcists try to calm tempers by proposing a truce, but tension remains high. The captain cannot accept the idea of leaving an anomaly alive before her, while Behemoth shows disdain for her rival. The atmosphere grows increasingly hostile, and the others realize that the situation could spiral out of control at any moment. Elsie interrupts the tension by proposing a get-together before the investigation, since the anomaly only appears at night. She introduces herself cheerfully to Tojuro and Behemoth, saying that getting to know teammates better is also part of the job. While the captain grows irritated with the situation, Elsie assures Tojuro that they will take care of Behemoth and encourages him to talk with the captain. Surprised, he discovers that Hongshae always worries about him, even though her way of showing it is harsh and distorted. The group pressures Tojuro to strengthen his ties with Captain Hongshae before the mission begins. They argue that having her on their side is a priority, and that only he can achieve it, leaving Tojuro confused and unsure how to act in the face of this responsibility. The girls are enjoying a day at the beach. Behemoth appears in a black swimsuit, while Elsie wears a frilly bikini and plays ball with her. In the background, another character watches smiling with a sun hat and a float. Tojuro runs angrily along the beach, while some young men relax under the sun and comment on the paradise-like weather. They invite him to join them, but he angrily refuses, saying that he has things to do. While Tojuro grows irritated asking for help, the young men mock him and comment about Hongshae, known for her violence. Instead of helping, they call Behemoth to play beach volleyball, leaving Tojuro even more frustrated. Tojuro reflects on how difficult his senpai is to deal with and how any carelessness could cost him his life. He remembers the times when, still young, he was assigned to her unit, carrying that weight to this day. Tojuro recalls how protected he felt at his senpai's side, remembering her kindness in his youth. Despite her harshness toward anomalies, to him she was always someone affectionate. At that moment, he is surprised to hear her voice calling for him. Tojuro panics upon seeing his senpai appear, fearing the tense atmosphere between her and Behemoth. Trying not to make things worse, he nervously approaches, saying that he came to see her. However, Hongshae makes it clear that she has no intention of staying in the same place as Behemoth, refusing to join the others. Tojuro is surprised by Hongshae's unexpected reaction and wonders if this might be his chance to get closer. She's suspicious, believes that Elsie set this up to make her back off, but grows irritated at the thought of yielding just because Tojuro showed up. Tojuro faces Hongshae, torn between finding her cute and terrifying. He praises her strength and tries to start a conversation, but she retorts by saying that he has grown too relaxed and is even cooperating with anomalies. Despite her criticisms, deep down, she feels relieved and happy to be able to talk with him again after so long. Tojuro appears in beachwear, and Hongshae is shaken to see him more grown and confident. She thinks he is showing too much skin, but at the same time is surprised at how much he has matured, finding him irresistible. The atmosphere between the two grows heavy with tension. Hong She, overtaken by an almost predatory impulse, says she wants to devour Tojuro, while the image of a serpent appears behind her. Tojuro, frightened, tries to understand what is happening as she approaches unsteadily. Then she grabs his clothing, revealing his chest, leaving him shocked and begging her to stop. Hong She notices the scars on Tojiro's body and grows angry, saying that he has been getting hurt again since she left. He tries to explain, stating that Behemoth is not a bad person, but she refuses to accept it and accuses him of still being involved with an anomaly. Tojiro speaks firmly, saying that on the front lines it is always the same: injuries, deaths, and endless battles. He declares that he wants to change that he no longer desires pointless deaths. He affirms that Behemoth does not deserve such a fate, and above all, that he does not want to see Hong She die either. Hong She smiles softly, saying that Tojiro is still the same as always, kind, but still naive. She admits that he is sweet, but calls him innocent, while holding his arm firmly, revealing that she has something important to say. Hong She stares closely at Tojiro, saying that he understands nothing and calling his vision naive idealism. To her, this kind of thinking only allows anomalies to spread and kill innocents, while Behemoth watches the scene silently. Hong She holds Tojiro tightly and says that killing anomalies is the only way to protect the innocent. Meanwhile, Behemoth watches the scene and calls out to the boy, showing concern. Behemoth senses something strange and reacts in alert. Elsie notices something unusual on the horizon and questions whether there has always been an island there, raising suspicion about its sudden appearance. Hong She feels a strange aura and a dangerous premonition. Meanwhile, the others notice the sudden formation of an island in the middle of the ocean, something impossible to occur naturally. A huge mysterious island emerges from the sea, raising giant waves that almost swallow them. Tojiro struggles to stay upright, while Hong She calls out to him, worried about the chaotic situation caused by the sudden emergence. Tojiro swims without realizing the danger, while a colossal sea creature with sharp fangs rises from the depths. Hong She screams desperately to warn him, but he only notices the threat when he is already about to be attacked.